Okay, so the three of you got together and planned a mission to get revenge.
Yep.
You guys got a 25 caliber pistol.
Yep.
Now, originally, the plan was to do a drive-by.
Yep.
So walk me through the steps of what happens next.
It's just we was planning to do a drive-by. We was driving around. Shit, but when nobody in Beach's spot, them bitches was out. They was just, it was ghosts. And that's supposed to be the heart of Latin Kings. But it was ghosts. Nobody was out. So we just drove around, but the car pulled up next to us. So when they pulled up next to us, I actually knew the driver. Because like I said, my stepfather was a Latin King. And so I knew a lot of Latin Kings growing up. So when he recognized me, he asked me what the fuck I was doing in his hood. I just said I was just driving around. But then he turned around and see Toothy in the back seat and wanted to flirt with her and asked us to follow them to the park. Now, the actual person that was involved in my friend's murder was sitting on the passenger side. And he kept talking shit. Oh, you the famous Loca D. Oh, so you Loca D. And I just kept looking at him. I was like, y'all heard the rumor and I meet the legend, Loca D in the flesh. So we followed him to the park.
Okay, and the two guys was 22-year-old Hector Reyes and 21-year-old Jimmy Cruz. Who was the actual shooter?
Hector Reyes was the actual shooter.
Okay, so you, Hector, and Jimmy, you guys go to the park.
Yeah.
And the two girls.
And the two girls.
And Tootie and Muñeca. So once you get to the park, what happens next?
Well, actually, out of respect for the victim's family, because they are popping up now, I wouldn't even want them to relive that shit. Just to know that we did go to the park. We always talking. They had their guns. We had ours. I was invited into the bathroom. He acted tough until we got in the bathroom. When we got in the bathroom, it was a whole different situation. He pulled his dick out and tried to act like he wanted to fuck. And when I didn't want to do that, he mentioned the mula. Like, what it's about that. And that's when I pulled the trigger.
Okay, so you pull the trigger and Hector Reyes is now dead in front of you. What goes through your head as you're looking at this dead body?
Nothing. This is something that I've seen my whole life. Living in the streets of Chicago, you can walk past a dead body that's normal. Looking at people with their head blown off was normal, was nothing sickening. It was just everyday life. So nothing at that moment went through my head.
Well, seeing a dead body or seeing someone get killed is one thing, but actually pulling the trigger yourself is a little bit different.
Not to me.
Okay.
It wasn't, I didn't have conscience then. At this moment, yeah. But at that moment, at the age of 15, I didn't give a fuck. Like, bro, you killed my friend. You killed my friend. There was no coming back from that. I didn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't thinking right. I didn't know. At this moment, I do. You know what I'm saying? At this moment, there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of emotions, bro. I took 2 lives. You know what I'm saying? I ruined 5 families. So, I mean, but back then, the child doesn't think that. Back then, the child thinks that, oh, it's just down to do whatever.
Well, after you killed Hector Reyes, you come out of the bathroom and Jimmy Cruz is there as well as Muñeca and Tootie.
Yeah.
So what happens next?
I guess Jimmy thought that I was the one that had died. He wasn't expected to see me walk out that bathroom. So when he saw that it was me and not his friend, and after he heard the gunshot, he knew then his friend was dead. So he went to reach for his gun, but he was about to kill one of my girls, and I wasn't going to let that happen. So I just took off running, and as I was running, I pulled the trigger and it hit him in the head.